From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
An update on a couple of exceptional kids.
It's a phenomenal feeling, to be able to work to maintain a breed that's effectively endangered.
How they're helping to keep history alive. A powerful lake effect snow system moves in.
Only travel when necessary.
The latest on how long this Arctic blast will last. Plus, tough tariff talk from President-elect Trump gets the attention of Mexico and Canada. An update from leaders of both countries right now on AgDay.
AgDay is brought to you by Pioneer. Pioneer brand corn is part of a winning team that includes deep local knowledge and on-farm support. Pioneer brand corn, your best year starts here.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Leaders of Mexico and Canada are responding to President-elect Trump's threats to impose tariffs on goods coming in from both Canada and Mexico. Now, leaders of both countries recently speaking with Mr. Trump. Now, over the weekend, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau traveling to Florida to meet in person with the president-elect at his Mar-a-Lago estate. The two leaders had dinner together, which lasted about 3 hours. Now, it's reported the discussions covered a wide range of topics, including trade, border security, defense, and Ukraine. The two also addressed concerns about illegal immigration and drug trafficking.
Prime Minister, was it a productive meeting with President-elect?
It was an excellent conversation.
Canada, unfortunately, has decided to not follow the regulations, the USMCA agreement, and they're eating our lunch with our dairy farmers. Mexico is doing the same thing across the board with a lot of our different commodities. Brazil is gutting out our corn and ethanol industries.
Canada's ambassador to the United States says Trudeau's message that the Canadian border is so vastly different than the Mexican border was really understood. And the president-elect also having a conversation with the new president of Mexico, Mr. Trump, saying on his site, Truth Social, that Claudia Sheinbaum had agreed to stop migration through Mexico and into the U.S. He says they also talked about what can be done to stop illegal drug inflow into the U.S., calling it a productive conversation. But Sheinbaum, speaking after the conversation, rejecting Mr. Trump's assertion that she agreed to, quote, close the southern border during the call, saying on X, quote, Mexico's position is not to close borders, end quote. Sheinbaum said after speaking with the president-elect, she's confident a tariff war with the United States will be averted.
Driving Technology on AgDay is brought to you by John Deere. No matter where your operation is with technology, John Deere can help you take the next step. Keep your farm moving forward with John Deere Tech to fit your equipment and your operation.
Another big story we're following right now, frigid temperatures and lake effect snow. Take a look at the scene at this farm in upstate New York. Robbins Family Grain and North Harbor Dairy in Sackett's Harbor saying it took 3 plowed tractors, 2 payloaders, and all the skid steers to keep the farm going amid whiteout conditions. Parts of the Great Lakes region seeing more than 5 feet of snow in the last few days, and it doesn't appear to be over just yet, as Ivan Rodriguez reports.
More than 5 feet of snow falling over parts of western New York in the span of a few days. In Copenhagen, New York,
This ain't nothing. You get used to this kind of weather living here.
people spent their weekend clearing out the snow from roads, driveways, and even their cars.
Not a huge fan, but we've been lucky, so I guess we're due. Well, lucky as in it is after Thanksgiving before we had our first major snow, so why not?
According to the Weather Prediction Center, an additional foot plus of snow could fall over western New York, northern Ohio, and parts of Pennsylvania through Monday. Lake effect snow warnings are in effect into Tuesday. Officials in Erie County, Pennsylvania say they're working to clear roads that as of Monday morning were impassable.
That's a result of snow plows and snow removal equipment not being able to access those areas. So now you need the National Guard, now you need the wreckers, you need all those things in order to remove those obstacles so they in turn can clear the snow.
Also asking people to stay home and off the roads.
Only travel when necessary.
The cold will also persist. Nearly 70% of the country will face temperatures below 32 degrees for the next few days. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting for AgDay.
All that snow also ushering in a blast of Arctic air. Meteorologist Jack Van Meter joins us. And Jack, the extreme cold had to arrive sooner or later.
The polar Arctic blast is still affecting especially regions in the Great Lakes. Take a look at the feel-like temperatures this morning. Now, you got to remember, this is going to be that wind chill value where you take the temperature and you also factor in how strong the wind is blowing. And as we can see, very, very cold temperatures. It's going to be 1 degree or feel like 1 degree up there in Bismarck, 12 in Chicago, 22 in Rochester, and 11 in Bangor. Just a very, very cold start to the day. But as we can see, for high temperatures, really not going to be warming up all that much. Again, in Bismarck, only going to feel like 27 degrees at its warmest during the afternoon. And as we can see, a very polar day for much of the country as well. And the only portions of the country that actually are going to be warmer than 30 degrees actually going to be relegated down to Texas. Again, a very, very cold start to the day. And for tomorrow morning, again, once again, cold temperatures. And a snowy Sunday in the Buffalo Bills Highmark Stadium, and it was buried under lake effect snow. Fans helping to shovel ahead of the game against San Francisco. Looks like folks will have more shoveling to do. I'll more in your forecast coming right up.
Sustainable Farming Week is sponsored by John Deere. Your land, your brand. Technology, equipment, and support to help you farm better now and generations from now.
I'll be at the Ag Retailers Association annual meeting later this week, where compatibility with sustainability and conservation continues to be an area of focus. And a new study expects biologicals and eco-friendly solutions to grow market share in the next 8 years. Now, this comes from Global Market Insights. It looked at the global crop protection chemicals market from 2024 through 2032. Now, it expects the $91 billion market to grow at an annual rate of 4.2%. About a third of that comes from North America. The key drivers include increasing food demand, the need for enhanced agricultural productivity, and evolving practices that emphasize sustainability and efficiency. To that end, it expects to transition toward more biologicals and biopesticide solutions. Currently, synthetic chemistry makes up about 80% of the market share, but the authors expect demand for natural controls to increase through 2032. Be sure to join us this week over at agweb.com for a company-wide emphasis on sustainable farming. Our editors will look at balancing practices and profits that sustain the land, resources, and families. Coverage this week at agweb.com. Commodity markets sputtering to start the final month of the year. We'll talk pricing trends coming up next in Markets Now. And later we travel to the Hoosier State to see what it takes to bring a goat breed back from the brink of extinction in the country.
Sustainable Farming Week is brought to you by Neogen. Prioritizing herd health and embracing genomic testing are key steps toward maximizing your operation's success. Stay ahead of the curve, invest in your herd's health, and uncover their full potential.
Soybean futures faced pressure, but so did livestock. AgDay's Michelle Rook has more as we start the first week of trading in December in Markets Now.
Well, grains leaning mostly lower on Monday and to start a new month. Kevin Dooling with KD Investors is back with us. And Kevin, it really felt like maybe some of the pressure in the grains came from more tariff talk, this time about the BRICS countries, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Saturday, Trump issued the statement that if the BRICS decide, any of the BRICS nations decide to move away from the dollar at all, then they would get 100% tariff on all goods. And that combined with the euro plunging, moved the dollar sharply higher today and just kind of had a negative backdrop.
And the soybean market in particular continues to see pressure, despite the fact that we have had some really good export news, haven't we?
Oh, we have. Yeah. I mean, that big sale we had last Friday of almost 1 million metric tons. We had another sale yesterday for 132,000 tons. So yeah, the daily sales continue to build, which is fantastic. The pace is good. Why does the market not care? I think we get tariff chatter every day, and I think then the dollar continues to push, and there's just a overall fear from at least the human side trade and the fund side trade to want to jump on that. on the long side. But longer term, I like the looks of the chart. Just it feels like it's a bottoming action, but short term, it still looks a little spooky. So not sure how low we can go here in the short term.
And wheat down, hovering at contract lows. Do you think we deserve to be down at these levels?
Oh, not at all. Especially when I look at the long term. The long term is we're probably going to, be the tightest we've ever been in history next year. So why do we need to be $4 going into that? It doesn't make any sense. So, but I would expect cash to lead the way out of the hole here, not futures. Futures are just too small of contracts, and they get too many sell orders coming at it from the fund side for those to bounce on them on their own. So it will take the cash contract to start leading if we're going to see those markets move.
All right, thanks so much. Kevin Dooling with KD Investors. We'll have more AgDay coming up.
Watch Markets Now with Michelle Rook on the Farm Journal YouTube channel, keeping you updated throughout the day on the markets at the open, midday, and close. Find out what moved the markets today and what to expect the market to do next.
For a free 2-month sample of Kevin's market analysis, or if you have a question of any kind, call 541-980-4554 or email kdinvestors@gmail.com.
Starting off with our jet stream, again, we can really see where that Arctic air is starting to dig down, especially on eastern portions of the United States. But what's right behind it? Well, it's going to be another large ridge of high pressure, meaning that pretty much from the Great Plains to the west coast, not going to really be looking at any sort of active weather. As I play this through again, that low is going to deepen and move out into the Atlantic Ocean. And actually, we're going to have another little disturbance come and pretty much ride the border of the U.S. and Canada. But take a look at that ridge that's really starting to build up again on the western part of the country. And actually, looks like a slowly but surely gradual warm up is going to be in store again for much of the country as we start to move into the middle part of the month of December. Little trough trying to develop again and deepening actually as it's moving out west. So just to kind of keep that in mind, here's our radar image for the next week. As we can see, for tomorrow morning, we're still going to be dealing with lake effect snow showers, especially for the Great Lakes, just because we are seeing that northerly push of cold Arctic air moving over those warm bodies of water. A lot of those bodies of water, actually the temperatures right around 50 degrees or so. Again, so very warm, especially for this time of year, and also watching a small little disturbance move in from Canada, giving everybody a nice little shot of moisture and rain as well. So kind of keep that in mind. But again, notice the large clearing out west. So, got to keep that in mind. Not really going to be seeing a whole lot of precipitation for that part of the country. Traverse City, Michigan, a high of 33 degrees and a low of only 30 degrees. Cloudy conditions there. Huron, South Dakota, 37 degrees and a cold low of 25 degrees. And finally, Orchard Hills, Pennsylvania, 35 degrees, low of 24.
The beef on dairy trend continues to rise. We'll discuss that coming up next. And later, bringing a goat breed back from the brink, we'll travel to Indiana to see how these special kids are doing in the country. More dairy producers are looking to get more value added for their animals, and they're doing it by using their cows as beef cattle. Different genetics bring a distinct makeup in products between dairy and beef cattle. Olivia Ginther-Schroeder of Purina says there is research focused on bringing those desirable beef cattle traits, such as less days on feed and more carcass yield, into dairy cattle, while also enhancing existing genetics such as marbling in breeds like Holsteins. Now, she says when it comes to prices, dairy cattle are traditionally half the value of beef steers.
Mixing those two types of genetics, so breeding our dairy cows to beef semen and actually producing a calf that is part beef and part dairy, and really improving the value of what that calf is, because it is going to specifically go into beef production as opposed to dairy production.
Now, when it comes to export markets, she says a beef dairy cow hybrid would essentially be raised on a beef cattle schedule. The International Dairy Foods Association wants to spread the news. It says a new report shows consumption of butter and cheese have reached record highs. USDA saying per capita consumption of dairy products reached 661 pounds per person in 2023. That's an increase of 7 pounds per person over the previous year and matches an all-time record set back in 2021. And butter and cheese consumption have surpassed all previous records, reaching all-time highs of 6.5 pounds of butter and, get this, 42.3 pounds of cheese per person a year in 2023. Now keep in mind, a typical package of butter contains 4 sticks, so 1 pound, and a standard bag of shredded cheese is half a pound. Up next, we travel to an Indiana farm that's taking care of a couple of special kids as they work to bring this rare breed back from the brink of extinction. Next.
AgDay is brought to you by Pivot Bio. Protect yield potential with a new mode of action in nitrogen. See how Pivot Bio fits into your fertility plan at talknitrogen.com.
One of the rarest breeds of goats in the world is finding a home in the Midwest. As Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan reports, Conner Prairie, Indiana is raising a couple of kids in an effort to preserve history.
You first got a glimpse of these exceptional kids last year. They aren't just any goat. You're looking at Arapaw goats, one of the rarest breeds of goats in the world.
It's a phenomenal feeling, to be able to work to maintain a breed that's effectively endangered.
But thanks to this team, the breed that was originally brought here by English settlers is finding a new home once again in the Midwest.
I've seen in the last 10 years, we have gone from 5 goats here up to 35 goats. I've watched the breed go from just a couple active breeders to, we're at 25, 30 active breeders right now. And thinking about it in the future is just really exciting to know that the work that we're doing today is really going to influence where the breed goes in the future and hopefully for their success.
Knowing the Arapaw breed was on the verge of extinction, Conner Prairie, which is a hands-on historical museum based in Indiana, teamed up with RSG, which stands for Reproduction Specialty Group, and they did so with one goal: to save the breed.
Last season was a phenomenal success, and so we were able to use the frozen semen genetics from the Smithsonian and partnered up with Conner Prairie. So I think we achieved a little over an 80%, pretty close to an 82% conception rate on those goats. So phenomenal success. They were thrilled. The babies were born. Everything went quite well there.
With Arapaw being a heritage breed, they didn't have a lot of data to pull from. But thanks to technology from RSG, the mission to reproduce this breed was a grand success.
Because of the success we had last year, Conner Prairie decided to move one step farther into what's called embryo transfer. And so it's multiple ovulation embryo transfer. And everything kind of went as planned, and the technology was able to marry up with the need for maintaining the heritage breed, and we had great success.
We worked with RSG to inseminate another round of does using Smithsonian semen, and we were able to do an embryo transfer with some of the semen that we got from a buck that we used last year.
The team was able to successfully collect 7 embryos, 5 of which were put into does, and the other 2 were frozen and sent to the Smithsonian.
They've been really lovely people to work with and have been really excited to have new genetics brought into their germplasm bank, but also for us to be able to use the semen in their collection, so we're able to continue to work with the Arapaw breed and help with the genetic preservation.
It's that offspring that was then sent across the U.S.
From the 7 does that we did AI on, 6 of them did settle, and we ended up having 10 kids. From those kids, we have sent bucks off to North Carolina, Missouri, Kansas, and Washington states. So we've helped spread genetics through breeders that we knew who knew the importance of these bucks and knew how to help the breed within their own genetics and to spread those genetics then.
A dual-purpose breed that's valuable for its meat and its milk.
To take today's modern technology and partner with them and marry that back to maintaining and developing this heritage breed is just phenomenal. As a kid growing up on the farm, you look down the path of life, and whether that's school or careers or jobs and things like that, it's you have big dreams and aspirations, and these are some of the dreams that you don't know you dream about until you experience it. And so it's kind of a dream come true to be able to help and maintain those type of initiatives that are greater than we are.
It's the work here that's preserving the past while also growing a new future.
All right, thanks, Tyne, and that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day out in farm country.